This is the slave leveling cylinder for my man lift. This is the one that sits directly under the basket where you stand. Try to get some bellow on. It looks pretty rough. I don't want to get my shade in there. Using just a little bit of hot glue, I want to seal these ends up on these fittings just to make sure that no moisture gets. I don't have plugs for this. These size JICs. So that should keep all the water out of these lines. The next thing I want to get done is get this slave leveling cylinder. So I'm going to pull this thing apart. The problem is these lines going to the hose or going to the cylinder are in my way of working on getting this gland off. So I'm going to take this clamp off and take these two hoses off. And then, let me do that now. Then I'll mark these ends. They may be hard to get off. Probably has never been off before. No, they came right off. They come off pretty easy. That's loose now. But I get these off and, like I said, mark them. And then I'll put this in the vise to take the gland off. I decided to use my Wilton vise to hold this. Taking it apart. This on the back of the pickup truck. That's about to come up. That should hold it from spinning, hopefully. See if we can break this gland free real quick. I'm not sure. I've never taken this cylinder apart, and I don't know if anyone else has. So we'll see how tight this gland is. It may require a little bit of extra work, but let's see how tight it is right first. Yeah, it's on there pretty tight. It's not going to be easy. And plus I have something's around here like, oh, it's a corrosion or what it is. So I'm not really sure what that is, but I'm going to clean some of that up a little bit. And I may have to put a little bit of heat on this cylinder to get it to break free. I noticed that the piston's probably all the way out, almost to the end, or pretty close to the end. Well, the gland comes back pretty far, so the piston should be fine. So I'm going to just heat I'm just going to heat the top of this for now, just expand the top of that tube, and just use rosebud. And just warm it up a little bit. Hose just on this top edge of the cylinder. Just heat up where the gland's going to be. I see a lot of oil coming out around the edges of this thing. So just get this top edge heated up. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go any further around it anywhere. Getting some oil burning out around the edge, so I think I heated it up enough. Put a longer breaker bar on there to see. Now to do this, well, it's still a little bit warm. Nope. Doesn't want to break free. I'm going to heat it up. Heat it up one more time, real good, and then we'll let it cool off and see what happens. Sometimes that works. And when you have something that don't want to come off, more heat's always good. Sometimes it's not good to heat up things too much. I cracked this port so that at least it gets some pressure in there. It'll relieve itself out of there instead of causing something else to happen. Yeah, I can see oil, boiling some oil out around it. That thing's boiling real good. Try one more time, and then I'm gonna let it cool off, and then try to get it, you know, to get it expand like that, it may causing it to seize up more. Let it cool down a little bit, it may break itself free. I'm going to try it again. You know I was going to do that. You can't just try it 2 times. But I don't think it's going to work. I think it's got to, may have to cool down a little bit. May have to do this again. So I'm going to heat it one more time, and then I'm going to tap on it a couple more times, and then I'm going to just let it sit overnight. And we'll get started on it again maybe tomorrow evening after work. So I'm going to heat this up again. Now it's set overnight. I'm just going to try to see if I can break this thing free now that it's cooled off. I'm not expecting it's going to come off, but we'll see if the heat did what it's supposed to do. Oh, it did. It's breaking free. It's trying to. Let me pull it back a little bit. It's moving. So the heat did something, but it's like seasoned too at the same time. So I'm just going to work it back and forth a little bit. It could be, they got that O-ring real hot, but it's wanting to break free. Sometimes working things back and forth, gotta get things loosened up. It's starting to loosen up now. I think it is. It feels gummy, like it's an O-ring or sealant or something. It's probably some type of, this cylinder may have been rebuilt at one time. Maybe they put some type of sealant around the threads, because it feels more like it's gummy, if that makes sense, more so than if it's just rust. There it goes now. So we got this coming off, so that's a good thing. Get this gland off. I'm happy to see this. And we can look at what we need to rebuild these cylinders. Take it apart, clean them all up. But that could have been what was, excuse me, that could have been was coming out with some kind of sealant. We'll see in a minute if there is a sealant or if it was just an O-ring getting hot. But I'm gonna need my, let me get my catch pan, because I don't want to get any of this on the ground. Let me get my catch pan to catch that oil. That way you get the maximum. Should have this off in a minute. All-terrain vise worked out pretty good for these small cylinders. I wouldn't try it with no big cylinder, but these little tiny cylinders. Especially this gland nut is. It's not going to be much. Take the gland nuts off. Okay, the cylinder was pretty much all the way out, all the way retracted or extended all the way. So that's why there wasn't much any fluid in there. Let's see how tight this is. There should be some fluid in that. I'm probably going to have to take that. Yeah, I want to. Let me move this camera up. This, even though these ports are open, this valve is not opening up, so there's no way I'm going to be able to pull vacuum on this just by pulling it. So I'm gonna have to take this piece off, this manifold piece, or I don't know the exact name to it, but it's a safety piece. So I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna try pulling it the other direction. There's a shorter bar in it. It's got this this piece here. Should go back to thread and see if it fits. Whoa! Well, it's out. I don't know if you can see it, but it's out of the way. But this wear piece is all broke up. The wear ring is broken. It's twisted up in there. That's where the problem was, getting it out. So somehow that's come loose. I don't know if it come out of the groove. I'm not sure, but we're going to take this nut off here. That shouldn't be hard, hopefully, but who knows right now. So I set up the vise and everything for doing that. Put this here for now, out of the way. First thing I want to do before I start taking this nut, I want to put a mark on this nut so I'll know where to torque it back down to. So I put a mark right here on the flat, and then I'll put a mark directly in on the end of the rod. That way when I torque it, I'll know to line this punch mark to that punch mark. Let's see how hard this is going to be to take off. I'm hoping it's not that difficult. It doesn't appear to have any locking or like Loctite or any kind of thread sealing on it. But that does fit tight. See if I can get this socket on. May need a little bit of convincing. That like this. Yeah, it's just the right size, but it just needed a little bit of convincing. So I'm sitting about 4 foot out and putting a little bit of weight on it, not a lot of weight, and it don't want to move. I'm putting a large part of my weight on this nut and it's not moving at all. So that's not a good start for this one. I have a 5 foot piece of 1¼ inch pipe. I can run that all the way down. Gives me an extra foot if I just keep it all the way here. There it goes, I think. Yeah, it's moving. Just need a little bit extra. Now, that socket's on so tight, I'm going to have to take it off, reset it, where I could go down. Okay, let's see. If I put it right in there, I should be able to be up a little high. I should be able to bring it down. Keep a piece of pipe on it just to keep it easy. Okay, it's good now. We'll be able to put the socket on here in a minute. Socket wrench, or the ratchet wrench, socket. The ratchet wrench. Let me get one more turn on this. Okay, I think I got enough. Put the ratchet on there. Should be able to ratchet it right off now. Yeah. So if I was to guess, 6 foot, 600 to 700 foot-pounds would be my guess. About the amount of weight I was putting down on that bar. I don't think I was putting more than 100 pounds of weight on it, and it was 5 foot long. So if I was putting 100, that'd be, well, it'd be 500 foot-pounds. If I was pushing down 100, when it's at 4 foot, I put a large amount of my weight on it. So I'm weighing probably 210, 220 now. I haven't weighed myself in a while, but the winter blubber on. Before I get this thing all the way off, I'm gonna loosen up the socket off of it. I'm gonna try to loosen the socket off of it. Get it just to the end. Otherwise, I'm gonna thread it back on to get the socket off. Take that socket off. And just put the end of it. Well, yeah, just put the end of it. That's loosen up. Just below the crown of the nut. So that's off. So I have all of my cylinders apart. I just gotta finish taking these pieces apart. That's strange. That thing's on that tight. Something's up with this cylinder. I don't know. There's no evidence of any kind of Loctite or anything on it, but this piston is like stuck. Oh, I hit it like that. I hit that edge and I got a burr. I got to pull it out. I don't want to get any more of them. Let me bring the gland down. I can. I don't think I've ever had a first for everything on this project. I don't think I've ever had a piston that won't come up. I know there's probably an O-ring underneath there somewhere. It's starting to move. I don't know. Well, you're at your angle, you probably can't see it. It's moving a little bit. Not moving much. I want to put this, so I don't do any more damage to this thing. I'm just going to stick this in the press and just press it out. And then there's no more beating on it and everything. That just is not the best thing to beat on things. I got to press. I just press that. You see it's moved a little bit, but I did hit right here and put a bad little spot I got to work out. That was a stupid mistake. I got it set up in the press. I'm going to sit down because I know once that thing breaks free, it's just going to fall right out. So bring this jack down so it touches this extension piece I put in there. Should push it up. I'm thinking it should push it up pretty easy. Yeah, it is. Just have to keep a hold on it. I don't want to hit the floor. That is the tightest. Still not coming out. All the way at the end, maybe get something smaller to put in there. Let me get something smaller in diameter. This piece here is too big. Stick something in there. Do that real quick. Just use a socket, I guess. That should, not pushing that hard, I don't think it's going to hurt this socket. There's a little bit of pressure that's pushing down on it. There it goes. There it goes. Well, it's out. I have no idea why it was so tight. Oh, see, I see some. It must have been. Something going on in that piston, because it was dragging. You can see the aluminum pieces that came out of the threads were cutting the aluminum. And there's nothing that looks like a sealant or anything. It's just that it was either, I've never seen one do that, but it's like it's bent, or something's not right with this. I'm thinking the piston. I got another piston that goes on the slave. See if it, that's kind of tight too, but not as bad, because that's the same. Yeah, it's the same on this. I mean, this one's off the master leveling. This is the slave leveling. But it's something right in that top edge. I can't see it, but I definitely can feel it in well, I don't know if you can see, but the filings of aluminum are being extruded out. So, well, we got it off, and the rod just real quick looks good. The O-rings, they're fine. I'm supposed to replace that O-ring. Just need to get all this apart and get the gland apart. Get the gland apart, get the piston apart, and clean up everything. And we'll take measurements on all these parts. Well, this is very similar to the master, so I think I'm going to use the same, but I'm going to show you how I measured up all the parts, because I'm just going to buy the piece parts out, because this is an old machine. I'm not sure if it's going to be easy to get the parts and how much it's going to be to buy them. Probably be fairly expensive like everything else is that's old. So this is the last cylinder that I got to take apart. So this is the slave leveling cylinder. So this is one we just took everything apart. It's had a lot of something going on with these wear bands. I'm not really sure what's going on with this, but it doesn't look good. So I'm going to get this band off. I can see the end of this one, but I guess the other wear band is the end of it must be where it's all jacked up looking, or all smashed out, because I don't see, it's got to be somewhere in there, because I don't see any other place that's, so we got to pick along here and see if we can figure out where that band actually truly ends. So I don't see it at all, because I went all around the whole thing. There's no seam anywhere else. So it's got to be right here where it's wore. Well, that's going to be another problem. I think I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to do something off camera on that because I can't find anything. So we're going to hold off on that, and then I got this O-ring here. Get up underneath of this. This is your regular O-ring. That off. And that's pretty much it that we can do because we have to get that wear band off. So that's the piston as far as we can get it apart. Now we'll work on the gland itself. We'll keep these separate for now. I'll put it on this old towel. It's O-ring. The O-ring the O-ring looks really bad. I mean, maybe in that heat that I put on there, this is the O-ring. I think when I was heating it up, I probably melted it. So this one's totally gone. Or not totally gone, but looks pretty bad. So that's when you'll clean up there. I don't know if the cylinder was leaking. I think it was leaking a little bit past here, past this O-ring here. I think it's been leaking. That's why I got all this fluid down here, because this other gland looks, for the master, it doesn't have no darkness to it. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. So we'll get the wiper off, which that's pretty much disintegrated. So it'll probably come in, if it comes in a whole piece, I'll be surprised. No, it's just coming in bits and pieces. So just scrape all that out. And I'm assuming the main seal, or the seal on the gland, is going to be the same thing, just come out in pieces. It looks pretty, it looks pretty well gone. We'll see if we can get this out in any kind of a whole piece or anything thereof like it. Not quite get anything in whole. This seal is really bad. It looks like it's been bad for a long time too. So I'll be glad to have all these new seals. I know I can't tell if it's the original seals. A lot of times you'll see people will put Loctite and stuff. They'll use that on threads, and or usually the factory stuff doesn't seem like it has all that Loctite on everything. They just torque things down. Well, it's coming apart in a lot of pieces. Just keep digging it out. Okay, that's pretty much out now. Here's a place I have trouble on these small glands like this. It's trying to get those wear rings out on these small glands. So I don't have any good technique for that. So I eventually get them to come out, but they're not very easy for me to do. As you can see, did a little bit of work off camera, and I've come up with this idea to use this hook. So take the hook, pull in, holding the let me pull that hook in there again. Let's bring it around right there. Okay, get the hook and pull into the I'm trying to talk and think at the same time, into the wear band. Just keep working it. Get the 90-degree scribe underneath of it there. Now that I got it underneath there, the 90-degree scribe, I can just take a screwdriver or whatever, get in there, start working it around. I got it there. Take a pair of needle nose. That way it don't go back in the groove. And just twist it on around. So it's wanting to go back in the groove. Didn't say it was going to work perfect, but there. That one's out. The other one's usually a little easier, but knowing my luck, it won't be easier. Just do the same thing, grab it with the hook at the end. Get it to go, or I can go underneath. I can just go underneath here and get it. That'd be just as easy. Screwdriver underneath of it. That's kind of working. Hopefully you can see this. Or hopefully you can learn from my mistakes, better said. Okay, that band's out. Look at, that band doesn't look too good either. Look at, I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that with the light. These wear bands, what is the other one? Besides me getting the ends messed up, the other wear band was good, but this one, it just was eating on the side. So I'm not sure what was going on with this cylinder, but it's been going on for a while, it looks like. And this is say it's a leveling cylinder, so it doesn't, or it shouldn't get a whole lot of use. Just as you're going up and down, it just moves a small fractions to keep the basket level. So I just clean all this stuff off. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get reset up here, and we'll get some of this off. I'm not gonna clean these up all the way yet. I just want to get some measurements on this, so I get these parts on order, and then I can be cleaning. Now we're at the point where we need to measure all our pieces. So what I did is I took the sheet of the cylinder out of the user's manual, and I labeled all the different seals with letters on them so that I can identify them. So the first letter would be the seal that's on the gland, and it appears to be, if I'm looking at that right, it's this here. So we'll take our outside calibers. We're going to measure that diameter, and we'll just get them kind of tight. These O-rings usually run in fractional sizes in the inch for most of these things, so it doesn't have to be really critical because it's going to always fall in an inch. It looks like the ID of that is going to be 2.5 inches. So go on the back here, it's O-ring. We'll have the OD, whatever, and then the ID will be 2.5 inches. And based on what width it is, that's an 1/8 inch. So it's 0.125 inch diameter. So an 1/8, so it says 5/8, that'd be 2 3/4, right? 2 5/8, 6/8, yeah. 2.75 inch would be the OD. Then the next one is the seal on the gland. So for that, we'll use the inside calipers. We know the rod, at least I know the rod is 1 3/8 inches. So we know what the ID is. So this fits fairly tight, so close that in. We have a dimension on the ID, and that is 1 7/8. So the ID is 1.875 inches. So the wait a minute, the OD is 1.875, and the ID is 1.375, which is 1 3/8. Now we just need to get the width, and that's going to be hard to see. I may have to come back and get this and have a better light, but if I'm seeing that right, I'm seeing 3/8, so it's by 0.375 inch. I'll say that's high. So this is the ID, that's the OD. And then the wear rings, we can just use a ruler for that. We know that the ID on the wear rings is 1.375 by, they're 1/2 inch wide, and they're 1/8 inch thick. I'm going back and forth between fractions and decimals. So let's see, it's 8/8, let's see, it's 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, so it's 1.625 OD, ID, and then we have a O-ring D, that is this ring here. Let's come down onto that. That's good. That ID is 2 1/4, 2.25 OD, and let's see what width that is. That width looks pretty wide. That groove width looks real wide. Looks like it's going to be 3/16, but we'll take that O-ring. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. We'll take calibers and we'll find this O-ring looks really bad, but there's a spot right here that looks good, so looks like it's going to be 1.4. That one's going to be a little bit questionable on what size it is. I'm going to go and I'm going to look at the tube and I'll determine that one. And then you have E. So basically it's going to keep going around. That's this one here. So that rod is 1 inch OD. So that O-ring is E, right? E. That's 1 inch OD by such and such, and this one looks like it's 3/32. That groove does. No. Yeah, it's 3/32, so it's basically 0.93 inch diameter. And let's see, then we're going to the piston. There's the bore on the tube. I think I measured it as 2 1/4 Yeah, the bore was 2.5. Yeah, so the OD on these would be 2.5 inches OD by 2.375 ID. Am I getting that right? Or is it? No, it's quarter. 2.250. 2.25 ID by their 1/2 inch wide, 1/8 inch. So they're 1/2 inch wide by 1/8 thick. And then we're going to G. That's this O-ring, and this is a strange O-ring. I'm not 100% sure I know what's going on, but I know that's going to be a 2.5 inch OD because that's the bore of the tube. But we're going to have to figure out what those are. I don't have that information right yet, but it looks like it's, if I was to guess, this O-ring's a 3/32 or 90 thousandths O-ring. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. I'll get back, and when we get ready to put things back together, I'll review that. And then H, I don't know what that O-ring is because I can't get that module off, or that regulator or manifold, whatever you want to call it. H, and J is the tube that goes over the cylinder, like the accordion kind of tube. So I'll have to find that. So I think I measured that to be like 2 inches in diameter. I think that's what it was, 2 inches in diameter. No, it's 3 inches in diameter. So we got the diameter, 3-inch diameter. And I got grease all over my paper, but I should still be able to read it. My hands got pretty greasy. I didn't clean up the stuff very good, but basically we have all the information to get started, but I still have a couple open things I got to figure out. But this is the way that I go through. If I don't have a kit, or I can't find a kit, I go and find all this, and I'll convert these O-rings to dash numbers and find the part numbers to the seal. The wear rings I can get, those are easy to find, all the wear rings pre-made. So yeah, just these couple of items I got to figure out a little bit more. But basically you should be able to see the gist of how I determine O-rings. Okay, I have everything ready. I've already put one of the wear rings in because I wanted to see how well they'd fit. So I'm going to put the other wear ring, and I'm going to try to get the opening opposite by 180 degrees. It's going to be very trying to get in. And let's see if we can do without any special tools. If I need anything special, I'll have to go get that. The other one kind of went in a little easier than this. Since the one's in, it's not going to be easy to turn this one. You're going to need to get a pair of pliers to get this in there set right. And the other one's above there. Well, finally went in. When you know, they'd be lined up straight with each other. So I'm going to try to turn them around. Them opposite of each other, if I can. Doesn't seem like it wants to go opposite. Push it with this tool here. I don't think so. Bring it up a little bit. There it goes. Okay, it's pretty much 90 degrees out from the other one and snapped in. That wasn't that easy, but it's in there. So that's in there. I'm going to start with the press the upper O-ring here. I use PolySi grease for all my O-rings. That seems to do a really good job. I've never had any problems with it. That upper O-ring, lower O-ring, the one that goes to the between the gland and the outer part of the cylinder. That on there, then put these wear bands on first. A little bit of those bands going real easy. And 180 degrees out is this way for that one. So those bands are on. Then you get this X profile O-ring, put it on the piston. It feels, yeah, twisted. Don't want to twist it. Orange stick, get in there. That should straighten it up. It didn't. It's good now. Then put the O-ring for the piston seal to the rod. I just put a little bit of butcher paper on there just so I can get the O-ring over top of the threads without it catching all the way down through there. That's not working any better than, oh, there it goes now. Just roll that back. A little bit more grease on. O-ring lube on there. And lube inside of these wear rings a little bit. And my seal just in the oven getting a little bit warmed up. It's cool, pretty cool in here, so you're gonna warm it up a little bit. We want the lip, in this situation, we want the lip to be away from us. Well, I started editing the video and I noticed that the camera had stopped right at about this point, and it didn't show how to install the lip seal or the, let's see, there was the rod wiper, and then putting the gland back onto the rod, and then putting the piston back onto the rod, you know. But I did catch after that, you know, torquing down the nut. I'm going to tighten up the nut against the piston right now. This is the slave cylinder. I got it set up in my portable vise. Just going to crank this down, and then we're going to torque this. I have the nut is marked and the shaft of the rod is marked, so I know where to torque to. Okay, now I'm going to put the breaker bar on it first to bring it just a little bit closer to where it needs to be. Then I have to put an extension on it. That's going pretty well. I have it marked now where this is where it needs to go, and this is where the dimple is on the nut. So getting close.
Click.
Huh?
Click.
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 Yeah.
Are you ready for the actual?
You want to put that ball on there.
Well, whose weight's going to have to go on it?
You don't need a whole lot of weight. It don't take that much.
Get the more football.
Huh? It don't need that much.
That's a click.
What do I say? Now.
I'll tell you how much I'm going to get. God, I'm getting fat. I don't like the scale.
That's how close we are. Getting pretty close.
Yeah, I don't like the scale. It's getting coming in the back. Quick.
Yeah. It's getting close. Just a little bit more. Okay, hold on. Okay, it's almost there. So I'm going to get my scale. Hold on. Scale.
Scale's on concrete.
To the scale.
Now. Oh, you're really about
I got to get the torque on this.
You're really about to get the sign.
Okay, I got my calibrated scale, and I'm going to be 5 foot out. I'm going to push down on this, and I want to get the foot-pounds that I want to need to make this work. I'm up to 135, 140 right there. Let's see what we got. Hold on. Hold on. We're up to 140.
We're about to get torque.
And we're close. Need to go again. Somewhere. And that's got to be where. Got to be up here.
I'll get it down. You calibrate it. I'll put.
No. You're gonna. Okay, we're at 140 still. 145.
Is that what we need for torque?
I don't know.
Hey, you don't know. Are we guesstimating here?
No, we're gonna bring it to where it needs to
Oh,
be. 145. That's it. So we know this one's 145 because I didn't mark the other
Cylinder?
nut on the other one, so it's the same size. So I need to be 145. So to figure that in foot pounds, it'd be 145 times 5 feet, because we're 5 feet out, so it's 145 times 5. Okay, I have the slave cylinder ready to put it together. I'm going to put a little bit of grease here on the beginning of the tube just to help it slide in. And see if this one goes in easy like the other one did. My wear bands are offset. There it goes right on in. I'll put some anti-seize on these threads also, just a little bit. Oh, a little bit too much. Didn't want to get that much anti-seize on them threads. Take some of it off. Didn't want that much. Just a light amount of anti-seize. And get my spanner tool. Lock it in to my pins. Push it out a little bit. Get it started. It's going in. It's going in real good. This one's going in real easy. Wish they'd all be this simple. All right, get brake bar to the last of it. And this cylinder will also be done. Okay. This is the rod for the master leveling cylinder. So getting that ratcheted the nut down so it's tight, and then we'll torque this one just like we did the other one. But this one we're going to use that 145 pounds of weight on the scale to get that torque, and I'll do that math real quick, see what that comes up to be. Okay, we're just going to get it close to where it needs to be right now. And the torque is 725 foot-pounds. So we're going to put the scale on here. Hold on, let's put the scale on. See what we got. Go right at the 5 foot mark. You good right there? Or not?
Did you figure that out in your brain, or did you have a calculator?
Don't push down. I just push. We're at 140. We're at 145 now. So we're good. He already torqued it in. He may have over torqued it a little bit. Let's see.
Ooh. Okay, right side, so right side.
Yep. Okay, we're good. 145. Take that off. We'll finish with that. Have the master leveling cylinder all ready to put together. Just a little bit of lube in here right at the inside of the tube. And this should be ready to slide in. That's in. I'm gonna get a spanner, start driving this in. This shouldn't take long to finish putting together. Just tighten this down. As soon as I find out where the hole is, I'll put a ratchet, half-inch ratchet on this spanner wrench. Put a little bit of anti-seize on this also. Not a lot, just a little bit of anti-seize. So you don't need a whole lot of anti-seize. So I get it tightened up a little better, I'll put the breaker bar on and finish it off. Let's get it snug. Put the breaker bar on just to get a little bit extra torque on it, and this will be rebuilt. Just line it up. That's good. Turn this. That's the right direction. Okay, that cylinder's all done.